Do you feel like you have FOMO not being at Art Basel Miami? Maybe you feel like you're missing out on connections, opportunity, or even just sales. Who wouldn't want to be at one of the biggest gatherings of not only artists, but art from around the world? Well, I'm going to share what you may be missing out on, but I'm also going to share how you can create similar opportunity from where you are right now. My name is David Garibaldi. I'm a performance painter and also an art brand coach, helping artists level up their brands by attracting the right collectors and ultimately turning that into more sales. If you can benefit from content like this, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below other topics you'd like me to cover in the future, or simply hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into today's video. Now, as you can see, I'm not at Art Basel Miami. Now, I'll explain more about why I'm here backstage, but let's talk about Art Basel Miami. It is one of the biggest gatherings of not only artists, but art from all over this globe. Now, it takes place all over the city of Miami. One of the biggest shows there is called the Scope Art Show, and it's just a huge floor of just every piece of contemporary art you could think of, from sculptures, paintings, art installations. There's also Wynwood Walls, which is really a celebration of street art. There's murals everywhere. And again, more art installations from some of your favorite artists. But across the city, there's also pop-ups from brands. Galleries have opened up and showing artists maybe they would not have. And even businesses or hotels are featuring artists all over the city. Now, I had my first Art Basel experience last year. I was performing and showing at an event put on by Spring Hill, which is a company owned by LeBron James, and they partnered with Meta. There was also a lot of other things going on around it as well, like Doja Cat performing. There was this very cool after party as well. I mean, everything that you could dream of being at Art Basel was at this event. I had FOMO before, but after doing that, you could imagine I'm really feeling that FOMO now. Now, my question for you is, how do you create similar opportunities for yourself as an artist, creating a very specific niche where you are right now? I'm going to share some case studies of how you can do this wherever you are, and hopefully it'll help a little bit with you not having as much FOMO about not being at Art Basel Miami. Now, as artists, there's really two ways to get opportunity for sales. One is the more traditional route, which is getting into the right gallery or the right auction house and getting in front of that one big collector. This happens. There are artists who are auctioned off and these huge auction houses bring in all this money, and that is amazing. But the other way that you can also take control of your opportunity is you go to your collectors. You go outside the gallery and you start thinking about, what are the life experiences that I've had? I translate those into art, and together with my collectors, we're celebrating them, and you become the art star in that community. So let's break this down into 4 parts. First, identifying your niche. Now let's use a scenario. Let's just say I was an artist who grew up surfing in my hometown. I grew up around the beach life. I know it very well. I know, what we wear. I know how we talk. I know where we live. I know where we vacation. And so outside of even creating, that's just been my life experience: surfing, beach life, and everything else that surrounds it. So by identifying your niche or your subject, you've got to really look into your personal life experiences. Growing up for me, it was all about jazz music. I grew up playing the trumpet. And so outside of art, that was my world of expression. As I look back in my life when I started doing art, that's where I had a connection. So that's what I wanted to create. Step 2 is the subject. How do you translate that style into the art? Going back to this surfer scenario, there's so many different ways to capture the beach lifestyle, whether it's the act of surfing, whether it's the landscapes that surround it, or even the lifestyle of going to the beach, leaving the beach, end of day, beginning of day. I mean, if you were living it, you could break down each scenario. You could do a series on each part of that life. But this is something that you've really got to dive even deeper into. After you identify your niche, now how do I break that down into art and celebrate it through the subject matter? Part 3 is the collectors. where do they gather? Now, going off this scenario with beaches, and if I was a surfer artist growing up and I was expressing this now, I know exactly where they gather because I'm one of them. That's part of identifying something that you already connect with because you are one of the collectors as well. You know exactly where they gather. Now, if I were to give an example to this artist who's creating this surf or beach lifestyle, I would say, I would be going to every surf competition, every fair or music festival that are taking place near the beach that I'm living at or that I have access to. And I'm sure that there's some sort of beach conservation or even the beach wildlife conservation groups that you can help celebrate through your art by introducing yourself, becoming a part of that community. If you are coming from that lifestyle, where do you hang? Who are the people around you that speak that same language? Those become your first collectors, and from there that word of mouth builds, and you can find more really around the world, especially with this particular niche, because you know the beach lifestyle. Now, don't worry, I'm gonna give some other examples of niches, but let's continue on with the surfer artist. Part 4, how do you make the connection? This is where not just the sales happen, but this is more about making a connection with collectors outside of making a sale. I always say, artists, don't sit around and wait for a community or your community to come support you. Go to them with your art, with your expression, and go show support for them. That's why we go to the places where this particular community gathers. Now, if we were going with this surfer artist, we're going to surf competitions. We are going to the beach conservation fundraising galas. We're partnering with brands who are already in this community and doing collaborations on products, with events, or any other way that you can express this lifestyle by attaching your art to it. So I just gave this example of 4 parts, from identifying your niche, identifying the subject on how to express that niche, the collectors, where they gather, where we find them, and also how do we make that connection? Where is that connection made? Next is, what are some other examples of niches, or what are other examples of communities that your life experiences may already be connected to? I love this one, is the equestrian horse riding world. If you can speak the language about how to ride, the different riding styles, this is a place where if you've experienced it, you go create that and express it, connect with them. Another one is classic or exotic cars. How do you express that with your art if that's something that you're already into? And of course, this one, animal and wildlife conservation. This is about what do you love and what are you passionate about in life? It could be a place, a subject matter, or even deeper, it could be a mindset of a group of people that you are expressing through your style of art. But once we identify that niche, we identify how do we translate that into our art? Where does that group gather? And then how do we make a connection at that gathering? This is where we start to create that Art Basel experience and opportunity in sales wherever you are right now. Now, why am I backstage in Boston and not at Art Basel Miami? Well, I'm about to perform with Andrea Bocelli. Now, I'm on this tour, and after each show, that painting is signed by myself and Mr. Bocelli, and it's auctioned off for charity. And so far, just 3 shows in, which is when I'm creating this video, we've raised over $100,000. Now, we've done similar things like this with the band Kiss as their opener. We raised over $1 million for various charities. We also have done this where I performed with Josh Groban at Radio City Music Hall. And what I try to do is make the art process entertaining. The subject matter are the musicians and icons that we love and celebrate, and connecting it with that live audience. But the real connection here is the collector, someone who also believes in this same way of thinking about the art process, the music that's connecting us, and then also this part of giving. By the way, we do go into more detail about subjects like this in my free masterclass, Paint and Prosper, which you can access in the link down below. There's also some information there about a 30-day coaching program that we only do a few times a year because we meet up weekly along with the 30+ videos that go through similar subjects like this. But if you want any more info about that, check out the description down below. Here's the best part. In your circles that you'll be moving in, you'll more likely become the art star there than you may at first at a place like Art Basel Miami. You don't want to be the big fish in a small pond. Wherever you are now, at some point you will outgrow that specific area. The beauty though of identifying a community that you can express through your art is there's most likely people like this all around the world. I would also add that even my experience going to Art Basel Miami last year, it felt great to have that challenge of like, look, I'm not the only artist here. There's artists that are 10 times more popular, even more amazing work, but just to be around them and in a place where, yes, we should be in places that are challenging us and challenging us to not only be better artists, but also work better and harder about getting our art out to the world. Which is why I think it is great to go to places like Art Basel to get that challenge, meet those artists, and just see the bigger world out there. Now, this only happens once a year. What do you do the rest of the year as an artist? What I'm sharing with you now is how you win as an artist every single day. Identify your niche, identify how you express that niche through your art, identifying where your collectors gather, and then how do you make a connection at that gathering. Now I'm gonna go get ready for tonight's show. We're here at Boston at TD Garden to perform live with Andrea Bocelli. We're gonna auction off that painting. I'll probably be meeting some new collectors along the way as well. And I'm gonna continue to double down in not only the way that I express, but this community that I'm expressing for. People who love music, they love the art process, but they also love to give. And will I still have FOMO about not being at Art Basel? Yes, but it feels a little better to know I'm doing something about it and create art I enjoy with people I love in a place where we connect. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe, and also leave a comment. What are other subjects that I can give some advice on in the future? My name is David Garibaldi. Thanks for watching, and check out these videos.